What's up, Brandon here from thirstgym.com. First, to tell you, there's tons of drills you can do to increase your sprint speed, drop your times, and increase your mechanics. But these are the top 5 that we've found that have helped our athletes from ages 10 to 18 years old, and even collegiate athletes to help them prepare for the next level. Drill number 1 is performing 10 to 20 yard sprints. Now, this might seem incredibly basic, but generally speaking, if you want to get to top end speed, you're going to have to make sure that you're accelerating there as quickly as possible. That way you can maximize that top end speed, right? So by working on your 10 to 20 yard sprints, especially the mechanics and the drive phase component of that sprint, you can really set yourself up for success for being fast, especially when it comes to playing sports where you've got to get to different objects or beat a defender to a certain position. Acceleration is incredibly important. So by working on those mechanics, 1, we can take those and apply them to sport so that we can be faster. But then number 2, if you happen to need to test this, like trying to go to a combine or whatever, then I think you'll find that this is something that's also incredibly important to get to that time and drop those times, and then you'll find overall success. Drill number 2 is Prowler or sled marching is what we like to call this drill. Essentially, you're gonna take a sled or a Prowler, you're gonna lean forward, and you're really gonna work on driving those knees up hard and then pushing your foot back into the ground. So this is gonna work on the drive phase component of sprinting, but the reason I like this over wall sprints is the fact that you actually get to move an object. So you can put some relatively decent amount of weight on it, chop those knees up, drive them as hard as you can, and you can do these for short distances, 5 to 10 yards at the absolute most. And you can quickly see how this replicates sprinting in terms of driving your feet into the ground and working on the acceleration mechanics. It's also a very way to track whether you're making progress. If things are moving incredibly well and you're able to add a little bit of weight over the course of time and they're still getting there, then you're able to find that, hey, we're working and improving on driving our knees up, but also at the same time driving our foot into the ground and creating as much force as possible. This also mimics the nice, good quality forward lean that we want in terms of sprinting, so you also get to hammer that home with your athletes as well. Drill number 3 are band resisted A-skips. Now I like the A-skip drill, I think it's great. There's really nothing wrong with that drill, but I really like performing these against band resistance to help athletes understand to stay forward. And by doing that, again, we can still work on driving the knees, pushing the foot into the ground good and hard, and it's also a relatively low level exercise that you can do in part of a warm-up or pre-training to get ready for your sprints. But again, you're gonna have that forward lean component that's very hard to mimic without some kind of external load, because otherwise you're staying good and upright. And for me, that's what I really like about doing the band resistant piece. You can also crank that band resistance. You can even walk with the athlete as well to be able to make sure that they're still moving in space. You're still gonna work on the arms, the legs, and still work on good acceleration mechanics. Exercise number 4 that I really like is sled dragging. So putting a light load on a sled, getting a good quality belt or something to put it around the athlete's waist, and then doing sprints with the sled. 1, this really builds up some good strong hamstrings, but we can also work on that forward lean as many of our other drills have alluded to, but we can load this up a little bit to get some external resistance. What I really like about this is it prepares athletes for the demands that are going to come, but the hamstrings are going to undergo even more work than they normally would. So by doing this, we're going to find that our athletes run faster and sprint faster. Think of this about if you do jumps with nothing but weight all the time, you take that weight off, you automatically feel like you're jumping higher, and you do. The same thing goes with sprinting. The key here is to not use too much weight. 25 to 40 pounds for youth athletes seems to be a great spot. If you happen to be a higher performing athlete, then you can start to look at maybe 60, 70, 80, maybe even 90 pounds, especially some of your big defensive ends. I think you can definitely make a case for that. But for youth athletes, no question, good quality sled dragging with some light load will go a long way to improve your sprint speed and drop those times. Exercise number 5 are band resisted acceleration starts. It's what the drill that we like to call them. Essentially, you're gonna do your sprint for only about 5 yards, but we're gonna use a band resisted measure to make sure that we stay forward in that drive phase of when we take off. So get into whatever stance you want, 3-point stance, just a staggered stance, whatever it might be, and then the athlete's gonna go, but that band resistance is gonna get heavier as they go that 5 yards, which is gonna force them to have to continue to put more force force into the ground, really drive those knees up and accelerate hard into that band. And so what that's gonna do is it's gonna let the athlete try to stay forward longer so they don't pull up too quickly when they go to accelerate on any kind of test or to take off after an athlete. The biggest issue we see is when someone sprints, they come up good and vertical too quickly. This is gonna let them stay forward, but still actually get some good hard sprinting in as well. That wraps up my 5 drills to increase your sprint speed and drop some sprint times. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and we'll drop new videos every week to help you be stronger, faster, more explosive, and overall a better athlete or a better coach.